Greetings and welcome to another episode of Association Matters, the official PCAAE podcast for conversations on governance, leadership, and impact for the association sector. Because we believe that when associations thrive, societies rise. So we are your hosts. I'm Bobby.
And I'm Emily. And the topic for today's podcast is Beyond Data, how associations can unlock value and drive engagement. In today's data-rich environment, many associations are sitting on a gold mine, but few are truly unlocking its value. In this episode, we'll explore how associations can move beyond simply collecting data to using it strategically. We will also explore how data can enhance member experiences, drive engagement, and inform better decisions, along with some practical starting points and real-world examples. Looking ahead, we will also examine the growing role, of AI and what associations must do today to stay relevant in an increasingly data-driven future.
So in this episode, we're joined by Denny Lancong, President of IntelliData, Virginia, USA-based company that helps associations to organize their data, uncover what they need, and turn it into something that they can actually use. Denny will help us unpack how associations can move beyond simply gathering data to actually unlocking its value, amongst others.
A self-proclaimed entrepreneur and data geek, Denny is the brains behind IntelliData. He believes that there is always a story waiting to be uncovered in the data, and these stories can unlock endless possibilities, answer this generation's complex challenges, and transform businesses in more ways than one. Denny has over 20 years of experience in data and has helped various associations and not-for-profit organizations across various industries. He and his team believe in empowering associations by helping them understand and utilize data effectively.
Hi, Denny. Great to see you again. Recently in Manila and now virtually here. Thank you, and we're delighted that you are gracing our podcast. So let's start our conversation. Many associations are converting a lot of data already. So what's the difference between having data and actually unlocking meaningful value from it?
Very good. That's a really good question. First of all, thank you very much, Emily, and the members group and Bobby and then PCAAE for inviting me and having me as a guest for the podcast. Really appreciate it. It's data, especially now in the AI world, it's really important, right? And then the question is, how can we take advantage of the data that you have? A lot of associations that at least that we work with, and maybe the associations that they collect data, but it's challenging for them to turn that into an insight, right? What my good friend usually always say is associations are usually data rich but insight poor. They have a lot of data, they collect a lot of data, but if you're sitting on a gold mine right there, take advantage of that and make that an advantage point for you to in your association to make yourself a data-driven company, right? Just collecting data is not equal to insight. So you have data, but if you don't know what to do, what to use with that, my analogy is like if you're a chef, you have a lot of the ingredients, but you don't know what to do with that, right? You can turn it into something else, but unless you have an idea, unless you can take advantage of what you have, you won't be able to compete with some of the associations that are really data driven. So what's encouraging is it's never too late. You can always start somewhere. You can always start at any point. We've dealt with a bunch of clients, bunch of associations that were in a starting points that they 3, 5, 10 staff, and they only have they've been collecting data for 3, 4, 5 years. But we've also worked with some associations that have 150 staff and have been collecting data for about 40 years. And then we can go. I can give you an example later down the road, later in the podcast. But yeah, I mean, if you can take advantage and turning data into something that's meaningful. For example, you could look at once you have a breakdown of your member, right? You can look at your renewal rate based on education level, based on location, based on a member type, things like that, right? And that's just a first step. Start small, and then once you get more advanced, some of our clients that we work with, they look at their annual meetings or annual conference and see where are the members located from, and where are the members coming from. So they know in the future meetings, they know to pick a location that's more centralized for the members so they can get better attendance.
Data is really powerful. What do you think are the most impactful ways associations can start using their data today to improve member experience, engagement, decision making? And yeah, if you've got some of those case stories, or case studies, sorry, or stories, please share.
Yeah. So again, the first step is starting. I think the most challenging thing is every association staff they have their own day job, right? They have their own task that they have to do, and data it's always a second thought. Like it's like I don't have time to do it, or it's too complicated. I don't know how to start. What I say is start small. If you have an Excel spreadsheet, start with the Excel spreadsheet and make a chart, make a graph, because human brain can only consume so much when it's put in a tabular form. But when you turn it into a visualization, it's a lot of times the information is consumed a lot quicker. People, the thought process start flowing, and people get more ideas of doing things. And that's what I say. Start small, start with Excel, and if you feel it challenging, go there are a lot of good free tools out there. Power BI, Microsoft Power BI, it's free to download, and it's free to and we're not endorsing anything. We're just giving you some examples. Like Power BI, it's a free to download, and you can use your Excel as a data source and convert it into charts and graphs. Google Looker Studio is also another free tool. So there are a lot of, and if you save your data into Google Sheet, for example, you can use Google ecosystem, right? If you save it in Excel, you could use Microsoft Power BI. So start small. Once you have something built, share it with your colleagues, share it with your colleagues, boss, whoever that is. Try to get a buy-in, because my favorite phrase is, the more you know, the more you don't know, right? Because so when they see it, a lot of the clients, and this is the reaction that we get from our clients is, oh, you could do that. Now, can you do something else? Can I get an information about that? Now, by doing that, once you get a buy-in, it's a lot easier to get people to give you ideas, and people get more excited, because if you can prove that, hey, look, our retention rate has been, people might know, some of the membership, for example, membership department might know that, let's say the renewal rate has been going down. They might have the gut instinct of doing that, but then once you see the fact, that, oh, our renewal rate has been going down by X%, right? It's a fact. It's a hard number. So once you have that, we can figure out how you can, by using the data that you have, find out how you can improve that. Maybe let's say, for example, you see the renewal rate has been declining because a lot of the students, members that you have are not renewing, maybe because of the costs, right? And then so you could reduce the cost for the student members. Maybe you can give a promotion of like 3 extra months for the student members. Now, by knowing that, you could improve your renewal rate, right? So, for example, the good example that I use usually is one of our client is in a medical field, a medical vertical in associations. Same thing. The renewal rate has been every year. So their membership term is not calendar. It's anniversary. So it can start any time. It goes 364 days basically. But their biggest big conference is in July. So after July, for whatever reason, they see the renewal rate just goes down tremendously, and they don't know why. So once we start looking at it, apparently they are, for the big conference, they invite a lot of speakers, a lot of doctors, and they gave them free membership. So after the conference, guess what? I have no incentive to be a member anymore, right? Why? I just want to go to the conference for free. I don't have to renew it. There you go. That's the answer. right? Things like that. One of our client also has they're in a fundraising field. They are keeping 40 years worth of data that they analyze every single day. And mind you, a lot of these donations are hefty amount, like, 6 figures, within 100,000. So they look at the donor profile and see whether, they do a lot of campaigns, email campaign, mail campaign, text, phone. They look at every single campaign and see which one has the most is the stickiest one, and which of the campaign has more success, and which one that generates the more revenue. So by looking at that, they can focus on a specific campaign without wasting money on some other campaigns that don't work. So there are a lot of examples that I can give you, but those are just a two big one, and then that I think everybody can relate.
So from data to insight, that's a good way to put it. So Denny, our third and final question is, looking ahead, how do you see data evolving with AI? And what should associations be doing now to prepare for that shift?
So back to what I was saying, getting your data, by getting a report, getting a visualization, you'll know what data piece that you're missing. So for example, if you want to break down your renewal rate by education level, and you don't have an education level in your system, maybe try adding that, right? Once you add that, also when you start visualizing your report, you know what's wrong with your data. Maybe there's a lot of duplicates. Maybe there's a lot of missing information. Now, having that, once you know what the problem is, that you gotta figure out how to fix it. Because in the AI world, AI is basically, yeah, people think AI is it's super, a super computing power, right? But basically what it is, it's looking at your data and try to make sense of what your data based on a human based conversation, right? Without having a clean data, without having a complete data, your AI is kind of useless. Because if the data is not there, either your AI is going to hallucinate, and hallucinate is basically giving you wrong information, or it's probably going to tell you, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have that information, right? So by having that AI, it's a long-term goal, but having a good set of data will help you getting to that point when you're ready.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you, Denny, for those insights. There's some really good little key points in there. We wrap up our podcast as always with 3 key takeaways for our viewers. So I'll do my best here. The first one I got there is having data is one thing, but actually turning it into insight where there is real value is another. So a lot of associations, I love this quote that you used, a lot of associations are data rich, but insight poor. And in an AI-driven world, organizations that can actually use their data to make smarter decisions are going to have that big advantage. Number 2 is you don't need to overcomplicate it to get started, which is great news. Starting with a few simple questions, but important questions about maybe your members and renewals and engagement trends. That process alone will show what data you have and what's missing and where there are opportunities. Start with a visualization, perhaps some of those free tools that you mentioned, and get that buy-in from the wider team. I have a feeling that would spark some creativity. And the third one is AI is only as good as the data behind it. So if associations want to embrace AI and stay ahead, now's the time to get focused on their data, making sure it's clean, structured, and useful. Because that's what's going to help you become not just AI ready, but genuinely data driven. The real opportunity, I think, isn't replacing people with technology, but it's using that data and AI to remove friction, so your team can spend time building human connections that matter most.
Excellent summation again, Emily. And again, thank you, Denny, for gracing this podcast and joining us to provide your inputs. So thank you also for the audience for joining us in Association Matters, where governance, leadership, and impact come together. As I said, we believe that when associations thrive, our societies rise. So this podcast is brought to you by the Philippine Council of Association and Association Executives, members, and pricing for associations.
Subscribe to our podcast and visit the PCAAE website for updates and full episode notes. Until next time. Thank you, Denny.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.